CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Mekovic.
Right now on the afternoon edition, they are surveying the damage at two East Bay banks after thieves smashed a car into their front doors. It looks like the burglars were after the bank's ATMs. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday. Starting off with those two brazen bank burglaries in Oakland this morning. The first one happened at around 4:20 in Chinatown. Officers responding to an alarm at Sterling Bank on Webster Street. And that's where they found the front of the building smashed in and the impact triggering the sprinkler system, causing a flood. The ATM appears to have been pushed back into the building, and a U-Haul with a tow chain was left abandoned nearby. Then, just minutes later, police called over to Cathay Bank down the street. Similar scene there. Thieves rammed the front, shoving the ATM all the way inside the building. And this time, they were able to crack the ATM. No word yet on if any money was taken or if any suspects are in custody. We've reached out to Oakland Police for more details, and we'll bring you updates as we get them. Earlier this week, another Chinatown business was the target of a smash and grab, this time in broad daylight. Thieves used a car to ram into Kim Tin Jewelry on International Boulevard. The owner's son told us the thieves were armed with guns and hammers and stole jewelry and money before leaving. Police are still investigating. Well, in just the last couple of hours, San Mateo County Sheriff wrapped up testimony in the public hearing on whether she should be removed from office over abuse of power and misconduct allegations. This was the third day that Sheriff Christina Corpus was on the stand in her own defense. She was seen here leaving the courthouse in Redwood City yesterday. She was questioned by her own attorney today, who focused on the harassment they say that she faced, both before and after she became the county's first Latina sheriff. Meanwhile, the county pressed her on allegations that she retaliated against employees who were critical of her and had an inappropriate relationship with a close aide.
She had an answer for everything. She was very well studied on this material. And so when there was these negative inferences trying to be drawn, she corrected the county council and said, no, that's not the way it happened.
So now it's going to be up to a third-party judge to determine whether Corpus should be removed from office. Then the Board of Supervisors has the final say. Corpus is expected to speak at some point now that she's done testifying. Our Lauren Toms is in court, and we're going to have the very latest coming up at 5 o'clock. A dramatic house fire in San Francisco injured 4 people, including a person who had to jump from a third-floor window to escape. That fire broke out just after 6 this morning at a home on 47th Avenue between Judah and Irving. It quickly spread to 2 neighboring homes as well. Firefighters say the first home's vertical design presented a challenge. The person who jumped from the window is in the hospital in stable condition right now. Firefighters also rescued 2 cats from the home, but one later died. As temperatures have been heating up around the Bay, wildfire danger on top of mind in the South Bay. As Congressman Sam Liccardo, he was in Los Gatos this morning to announce a resilience partnership focused on preventing wildfires. He says it's time to work together on environmental issues as the Trump administration pulls back on some funding.
And the communities that are ready for this funding are the ones that get the funding and move first. And so we want to be sure that we're working collaboratively with our community, seeing how we can lend federal help, if nothing else, through convening, that is bringing partners together.
This morning's press conference included demonstrations of some high-tech fire mitigation tools, like a burn bot. That is a remote-controlled machine that destroys and removes dry brush. Congressman Liccardo also took part in a home-hardening demonstration to show what creating defensible space looks like. Taking a live look outside from our Mount Diablo camera, you will notice the warm-up today if you're outside. Inland spots reaching the 90s, and tomorrow's going to be even hotter. Let's get over to meteorologist Jessica Birch with more on what we can expect.
And the reason why we're gearing up for this huge warm up here in the Bay Area is because high pressure is centralized over Southern California, Nevada, Arizona right now, and it's really warming them up a lot more than us, but we're still seeing the complete impacts from it too. I mean, daytime highs today are about 10 degrees above average in places like Santa Rosa and Redwood City, both sitting in the 80s and 90s, just like all of our inland areas throughout this afternoon. We're sitting close to the triple digits today, and Oakland, Concord, Walnut Creek, Antioch, and all the way down into Livermore, too. San Francisco today topping off at 73 degrees. If you think this is warm, well, wait till tomorrow. The National Weather Service will issue a heat advisory starting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and that's going to last throughout Thursday and Friday as forecast, as we gear up for some of the hottest weather we've actually seen all year. Now, it's wild to think that just yesterday we were all sitting below average, with the exception of Redwood City. That was the only microclimate that was 2 degrees above average. Today, we jumped to 10 degrees above average there, and this area of high pressure continues to impact millions. I'm going to talk more about tomorrow coming up in just a bit, but for now, back to you.
Thanks, Jess. An easier way to pay for BART. Starting today, you can tap your credit or debit card to get through the fare gates. Our Veronica Macias spoke with some people at the Powell Street station in San Francisco about what they think about the change.
This morning, we're at the Powell BART station, and look at this. Very convenient way that BART is now rolling out for out-of-towners, people who don't use BART every day. They don't have to hassle with getting a Clipper card, adding some value to it. They're even putting out signs now letting everyone know that you can now use your debit card, your credit card, and also Google Pay and Apple Pay to ride BART. You have to make sure that you use one card per rider. So families, maybe you use a debit card and then Apple Pay for the kiddos, or figure that out if you're riding as a group. We also talked to BART this morning. They tell us that this is a new time for them, exciting, sort of everything coming together. They put up the new fare gates for people who are trying to ditch paying those fees. And also we talked to people who are saying the best thing with the debit cards is that it's saving them some time, which is pretty fantastic when you're not riding BART every day and you're visiting from out of town.
I feel like it is convenient in a sense, especially when I'm on the go. It's probably easier to Apple Pay or take out my debit card and tap it versus loading up my phone, or maybe have no reception on my phone instead. So it'll be convenient that way.
BART also telling us that they've seen an increase in ridership. In the month of June, they saw a 12% increase compared to last year. So with this new form of payment, of course, they're expecting more riders because it's easier for people. And of course, more riders means that they're able to generate more revenue and focus on things like having clean cars, also safety. Remember that when you use the card, you have to take it out of your wallet to avoid what they're calling card clash.
Other Bay Area transit systems, by the way, are not changing yet. Muni and AC Transit will still use their current payment methods, so keep those Clipper cards. Santa Rosa trying to get drivers in that city to slow down. The city council approving a plan yesterday to cut speed limits by 5 miles per hour along 29 streets. It is an effort to reduce the number of crash-related injuries and deaths. The new speed limits will range from 25 to 40 miles per hour, and they'll be enforced by radar. We spoke with one bicycle advocate who says these changes are going to help save lives.
If a pedestrian or cyclist is hit by a car going, 20 miles an hour, they got a 90% chance of surviving. If that car's going 40 miles an hour, they have a 90% chance of dying. And vehicles have been getting bigger and bigger.
New signs are expected to be installed in the coming months. Police will then give drivers warnings during a 30-day grace period. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area, redrawing the state's maps. Right now, California legislators are considering the governor's redistricting plan as Republicans head to court to try to stop it. And let's take another live look outside before we head to break. Looking at Alcatraz there in the Bay. We'll be right back. Another busy day for state lawmakers. Democrats rushing to pass several measures to put those redistricting maps on the ballot in November. It comes as Republicans are suing to block Governor Newsom's plan. Here's a look at the proposed map there on the right. The goal is to flip 5 U.S. House districts from red to blue by carving up current districts in Northern California and reshaping Republican strongholds in the Central Valley and Southern California. The move is to counter a plan by Texas Republicans to redraw that state's maps. But Republicans have filed an emergency petition with the California Supreme Court, arguing that the state constitution guarantees a 30-day period for the public and lawmakers to review legislation like this. Democrats say they're pushing back against President Trump's plan to reshape the U.S. House maps to his advantage.
California will not bend the knee to authoritarian demands. We will not allow red states to strip seats in Congress.
because he believes he's in charge. But even Governor Newsom and the legislature have to follow the Constitution.
Well, Newsom's package includes 3 bills, one to authorize replacing the current congressional map, the second to lay out the new map, and the third to set up funds for a special election. Today, the appropriations committees in both chambers will analyze the cost of that election, which is expected to reach hundreds of millions of dollars. The final votes on the Assembly and Senate floors are expected tomorrow. We'll be following that for you. People along the East Coast, meantime, bracing for Hurricane Erin. A Category 2 storm is not expected to make landfall here in the U.S., but it could cause serious flooding and dangerous ocean conditions. Authorities are warning of high tides and rip currents along the coast that could last for days after the storm passes. Much less tumultuous around here in the Bay Area as we take a live look outside in the city of San Francisco. Let's check back in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
It is so easy to smile looking at that live look. A little bit of clouds along the coast, sunny skies above us. It is such a beautiful day, but it is starting to heat up a lot more as we head into the next couple hours. What's going on right now? The reason why we're gearing up for such warm weather, well, it has to do with high pressure in our inland areas continuing to roll its way closer to the California coastline. Heading into our forecast tomorrow, our heat risk map highlights most of Southern California, Southern Nevada, all the way into northern parts of Arizona too. Southern parts of Utah, northern parts of Arizona is what I meant to say. This area of high pressure, it's impacting millions. And let's take a look at how it's going to impact us, not only today, but really tomorrow as temperatures continue to rise. We're going to be seeing triple digits returning into the forecast, some of the warmest weather we've seen so far this summer, and it's happening pretty abruptly. Think about it. It was just yesterday we were below average throughout all the Bay Area with the exception of Redwood City. Today we're about 5 to 10 degrees above average throughout all the Bay Area, including Redwood City. We're talking about 90s today in Santa Rosa, 90s off into the East Bay near Antioch and Livermore. Dry conditions too, which of course you factor in warm temperatures, dry conditions, and then some strong winds into the afternoon hours. Fire weather conditions are definitely possible as we linger into this weekend's forecast. And the heat really builds in more tomorrow. Today we're sitting in the upper 90s like you just saw. Tomorrow we're going to see more triple digits. Slowly starting to see that heat break once the National Weather Service expires that heat advisory that kicks off tomorrow morning, lasting throughout Thursday and Friday. Once we head into this weekend, that's when we start to calm temperatures down a little bit more as low pressure rolls in. Now, at the same time, the Bay is going to notice this too, just not nearly as much as our inland spots. For example, Oakland. We're going to be sitting in the upper 70s today. We hit the 80s tomorrow, still well above average for this time of year. And we start to cool back down into the low 70s heading into this weekend. And then we start to average out as we head into next week. We'll keep you updated on this heat wave here in the Weather Center. For now, back to you, Ann.
Thanks, Jess. The 49ers closing out the preseason this week, and one of their rookies is channeling his mindset into his footwear choices. Vern Glenn explains in this morning's Red and Gold Report.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
The 49ers are getting ready for their final preseason game this Saturday against the Chargers. And you can watch that game right here on KPIX with coverage starting at 5 p.m. But before we look ahead to that final dress rehearsal, the Red and Gold took care of business last weekend in Sin City. Strong showing for rookie linebacker Nick Martin. He led the Niners with 6 tackles in the win over the Raiders, and that included 2 tackles for loss and a sack for the former Oklahoma State Cowboy. Martin said he's learning from veteran Fred Warner on how to be a dog in the pros, and the 3rd-round pick is even channeling that to his footwear.
So you say you're learning from Fred how to be a dog, and I'm going to get my cameraman to tilt down as I ask you to explain those dogs on your feet.
Yeah, man, they're comfortable. I mean, I love expressing myself. You know, I love slippers. I love animals. You know, I mean, why not wear them? So, I mean, you could take some subliminal messages with it. I think it's just, you know, it's fashion. So, yeah.
With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
I'm into it. Here's what is coming up after the break. Have you ever wondered what happens to all of the shells of the oysters people eat? How one project is protecting our waterways by partnering with local restaurants. Nearly 2 billion oysters are eaten every year across the globe, but few consider what actually happens to the shells afterward. Our next Arrow has a look at a project that collects them to help restore local ecosystems.
You can see a little oyster there. They're small yet mighty organisms.
Oysters are so important to marine ecosystems.
And if anybody knows a thing or two about oysters and the role they play as ecosystem engineers and shoreline stability stalwarts.
But they filter 10, 20, 30 gallons of water a day.
It's Jeevan Kaki.
They help to clean the water of pollutants and particulates and algae that we might not want in it. My whole kind of drive as a scientist is to see the species succeed and to help restore our estuaries because we really depend on them.
Kaki is the lead scientist for the Wild Oyster Project. It's a group that is working to bring native oysters back to San Francisco Bay.
Because of historic human activity and historic changes in the bay, we really lost a lot of our oyster populations in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And only recently have they really started to come back with our restoration efforts.
That includes the team's creation of these oyster reef balls, aka orbs. You can see the top sticking out above the water at low tide, to build the Heron's Head Oyster Reef in Bayview Hunters Point.
It's so cool to see projects like this work. We've exceeded our project goals each year. We keep finding more and more oysters on the reef balls, which is pretty exciting.
The team built the orbs with a material best suited for success: recycled oyster shells. And they're able to acquire them largely thanks to people in the Bay Area having quite the appetite for oysters.
We sell about 3,000 oysters a week.
Rachel Barrett and her team at Mission Rock Resort don't throw out their oyster shells. They put them in bins like these for the Wild Oyster Project to pick up on a routine basis.
They're here usually once a week.
And they're just one of many restaurants doing this. She and the team say they depend on fresh and clean seafood to run their business.
We are very focused on local product.
So they feel like supporting an effort to maintain and revitalize the local marine ecology is really a no-brainer.
No matter how big, how small, everybody can make a contribution.
So we use the shell for all kinds of stuff. We use it in oyster reef balls. We use it in other oyster restoration projects. We've also started partnering with marsh restoration efforts.
Kaki says the mission to restore habitats and protect shorelines is only growing more important for the region as sea levels rise and the climate changes.
We depend on bays for recreation. We depend on them for just the beauty of them. We depend on them for so much economic interest. Everybody that lives on a bay, even if you don't go to the beach every year, you depend on it in one way or another.
And fostering an environment for these small creatures to flourish may play a mighty role in the bay's health and future.
Coming up, these veggies giving a new meaning to fast food. Check out the zucchini races when we come back.
And they're up.
Yeah, those are the zucchini races. Kids revving up their veggies at the Sonoma night market. Racers were judged on the speed, but also creativity and showmanship.